So in this video, we're going to be dividing complex numbers. In order to do this, we're going to need to use complex conjugates. So now it looks like in one of our examples here, we have a little bit of a typo, so let's go ahead and fix that. This should be a lowercase I right here, lowercase I. All right, so let's take a look at our first example. Here we have 2 plus 3i divided by 4 minus 2i. So we want to get that complex I out of the denominator. So we're going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 4 plus 2i, because that's the complex conjugate of our denominator. So remember, from multiplying complex conjugates, this is our a value and this is our b value. And when we're multiplying complex conjugates, we are able to take the a squared and subtract it from the b squared as a shortcut, so that way we don't have to FOIL the entire denominator. So we're going to have a 4 squared minus a 2i squared, so 16 minus 2i squared. And then we need to remember that when we see an I squared, it's actually worth a -1. So here we have 16 minus 2 times -1, or 16 plus 2, which is 18. So here our denominator is going to be an 18. Now on the numerator, we have two complex binomials, and these will need to be factored. So we're going to start by giving ourselves some room to work. So we'll rewrite these two binomials. So 2 plus 3i and 4 plus 2i. And then we'll FOIL them. So 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 2i is 4i. 3i times 4 is 12i. And 3i times 2i is 6i squared. And so we can combine these, and that's going to give us a 16i. And then don't forget that I squared is actually worth, right, -1. So we plug that in. And then our 8 right here just comes down. So 8 plus 16i. So now we have 8 plus 16i minus 6. And we can combine our 8 and our -6. And that's going to give us 2 plus 16i. And now we're going to take that and we're going to put it up on the numerator, right? So our denominator came from here, and then our numerator is going to come from right here. So let's put that up there. So 2 plus 16i. And then we have to try and simplify. Now sometimes if you're just learning how to do this, your teacher will let you leave it like this, but many times you need to finish reducing. So in order to reduce this, what we want to look at, let's get rid of the highlight marks so we can make some new ones really fast. Oh, so highlights just don't want to go away. We'll just rewrite that. 2 plus 16i. What we want to look at is we want to look at this number, and this number, and see if there's any number that they all have in common. And in this case, they do. They all have the number 2 in common. So I can reduce it using the 2, and I see that 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 16i divided by 2 is going to be an 8i, and 18 divided by 2 is a 9, and this is going to end up being my final simplified answer. Okay, again, so I reduced by 2 there. Let's try this next example. You're welcome to try it on your own first and see if you've got it right. So I'd push pause, do it, see if it's right. When you push play, that's how you'll know. So here we have 2 plus I divided by 2 minus I. So we'll need to multiply by our conjugate, our complex conjugate, which is 2 plus I, to both the numerator and the denominator. And so remember that here we have our a value, here's our b value, so we can do our little shortcut, right, of a squared minus b squared. We can plug those pieces in, so a squared minus b squared. We put in our a of 2, and we put in our b of I, and so we're going to have 4 minus I squared. We know that I squared is really just a -1. So put that -1 in. So really that's just a 4 plus 1, right? So 4 plus 1 is 5. So that's going to go on our denominator, right? That's our denominator. So 5, so 5. Now we're going to take our top, our numerator, and we're going to FOIL that or distribute it. Some people don't like it when you call it foiling. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times I is 2I. I times 2 is 2I. And I times I is I squared. So we're going to have 4 plus 4I plus -1. And we're going to combine our 4 and our -1 so that now we have 3 plus 4I. We're going to take that and we're going to put it on the numerator. So 3 plus 4I. And then we're going to look at this point, this spot, and this spot, and we're going to see if they have a number in common. And we see that they don't have any number in common, which means this is the simplified answer right here. And we're done. And so that is how you divide complex numbers.